The Lego Teacher and the Lecture, a lesson on today's Meet by Hilary Parrish. There once was a Lego teacher who had created this great lesson. He was lecturing away when all of a sudden he turned around to ask his students a question and they were passed out from boredom. So, the Lego teacher jumped in his Batmobile to head to some professional development over todaysmeet.com. In the professional development, the Lego teacher learned that he can name his room whatever he wants, and as long as he gets a green check mark after todaysmeet.com, the name of his room is accepted. He also learned that he can have his room open for various amounts of time, depending on how long he wants his room to be open. The presenter explained that Today's Meet is a back channel. While a back channel can be used in many ways, as we will see in a little bit, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, a back channel is a secret, unofficial, or irregular means of communication. Today's Meet is a great way for general questions that students ask in the classroom to be answered, like, "Did you get what she said?" Or, "What page are we on? I didn't get that." Students can answer each other's questions, or the teacher can answer these questions because he or she might not realize that a student has a question if the student is too shy to raise their hand. Let's look at some ways to use Today's Meet in the classroom more specifically. The Lego man learned that in the math classroom, the teacher could pose questions to check for understanding or as a review game. There would be no argument over who answered first because it would be displayed on the screen. Or students could even work together in partners to collaborate on the answer, and one of them could be responsible for typing the answer. In the social studies classroom, the Lego man learned that students could debate a multitude of different issues such as politics, laws being passed, limitations on government access to our personal information, etc. In language arts, the Lego man learned that students could discuss a book they are reading or work on spelling, punctuation, and grammar. It could also be used as a story starter. For keyboarding class, the Lego man got to walk around and see how the students could practice their keyboarding skills after they have learned all the keys. In almost any business class, students could discuss how to earn interest versus things for which you must pay the bank interest, IRAs, taxes, etc. The Lego man got to see how in Spanish class, students could practice their Spanish spelling and grammar skills by holding a conversation with their peers in their own class or grouping with another class at their school or at another school. In science class, the Lego man learned that students can ask questions during lecture. Some students will answer other students' questions. Questions that are not yet answered can be answered by the teacher by looking at questions at various intervals. Students have more ownership in the lesson because students that do well with lecture can help others, and students that need more help do not feel as bad asking a question online. Next, we are going to watch a video created by Mike Schlanigan at Spring Lake Park School to see his perspective on using Today's Meet in the classroom.
Today my students were discussing alternative ways of generating electricity, and the internal ring of students was having a conversation with each other, while the outside ring of students was having discussion on a website called Today's Meet. Students can write comments and see a scrolling list of other comments, and they could respond to other comments or question other students about their statements or have a full discussion. In a traditional Socratic seminar, the outside students may be taking notes or writing down thoughts that they'd have. Being able to have the technology, they could actually have a full conversation and interact with other students without disturbing the inside ring and letting them have their own conversation. We basically had twice as much conversation and twice as much learning going on as opposed to having half the class just watching and observing. I've been really surprised with the feedback from students with Today's Meet, because it allows students who would be shy or not willing to participate otherwise, since they're not having to raise their hand or speak out, I find that students are much more willing to have that conversation. So it engages a larger percentage of my class.
So So after attending the professional development for todaysmeet.com, the Lego teacher went back to his classroom and wrote a grant for blue and green iPads for all his students. And from that point on, his students were engaged in class. They had a great time back channeling. And the teacher rode off into the sunset and recommended todaysmeet.com to all teachers in sight, near and far.